with critics now, they're completely past the sort of let's give them a credit because it's not an incompetently made film. Now they're like, okay, it's a good film, but you guys have set a bar.
Yes.
And now you're punching way, way below that bar.
And that's where I'm at. Yes.
Welcome, everybody, to Blerdlines. This is your man, Cam. With me, as always, is
a DEI hired podcaster, Cameron, as well.
As well as
the anti-DEI hire, known as Josh.
And as always, keeping us humble,
the misanthropic maestro and professor of nihilism, D.
Whoa, man, that's too many big words. Brother.
I was going to say, that's a school word. I'm going to have to punch you.
Yeah, well, there's a thing called a dictionary. I throw it out there. You go look it up.
Hey, well, I just caught PTSD from my mom telling me to do the same thing.
And if you notice, we've been talking about Marvel's Captain America: Brave New World, and I full disclosure, only Josh has seen it. The rest of us haven't seen it yet. We'll probably catch it on Disney Plus or whenever we feel like it. We're not in a rush.
Or if you sell those dark waters.
You should also give the disclaimer that this is not spoiler free because we don't care about your feelings.
Yeah,
very true. Very true.
There's been 25 plus years of Marvel stuff, so by now have to go.
It's hard to not spoil anything in this age of information.
It's been out since last week. Today's Monday as of this recording. You gotta get on it. If you're one of us,
you asked for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Here I am.
Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, I think that's the thing. If you gotten to the point where you get mad about spoilers, like, come on, man, we're all adults. If you want to watch something, go watch it or stay off the internet.
Hold on, I get mad about spoilers. I'm just saying, give it a second. Can I have more than 10 seconds to go see the bloody movie before you go talking about it?
Now you got 30 seconds, then go.
Anyway, at this point, it's gotten enough room to breathe. But my thing about this new addition to the franchise is that I'm just seeing another character that I just look at who hasn't taken any super soldier serum. I'm like, how the hell is he going to go against a Red Hulk?
Yeah.
And then the thing where he has some cool moves. But he went Mach 5 landing on the ground. I'm like, his legs didn't break. I guess that suit of adamantium is awesome. So it's kind of again, I know it's more vibranium, excuse me. So I know that he's being, there's plot armor, but he's being protected by technology. But it's just I don't really care about this character. I don't really care about the Red Hulk as much. But overall, I will watch it because I've been hearing mixed reviews about it. I don't know if the movie's bad or not. I just didn't care about the character going into this. Do we need one? Because my problem right now is because Marvel set themselves in a trap where a lot of their movies don't stand alone anymore. If this was a standalone movie with no continuity to a bigger scale, maybe I'd enjoy it more because I feel sometimes I feel like I have to watch this movie to keep up with the next movie and chain that along. But the problem with what Marvel's done over these last 20 years is they've created a system where you feel like every movie's connected. There's no standalone movies for the most part. And I was hoping this would be a standalone, but it sounds like this might go into some other stuff. So that's my take. I will watch it. I will judge for myself. But again, I am like a lot of others. I'm not completely giving up on Marvel because I do like comic stuff, but you're going to have to get in that equity again for me to just go all out and be like, I'm going to watch this day one. Like I said, I'm just going to wait because there was no appeal for me to go watch this among other movies. But I don't think this is as bad as the other ones that I predicted, like Captain Marvel. I didn't care too much for that. And I watched it. I was like, this is okay. So again, it's just one of those movies that didn't gravitate towards me. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised when I watch it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I had the pleasantly surprised thing when I watched the Marvels or whatever, where I was like, oh, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought. And it worked a lot better than the original Captain Marvel. But yeah, the urge is like not there. Like it's a Black director, also Black man led as well, just to put that out there for those that care about those things. But yeah, just one of those things where it's a little unfortunate because I think to get here, it took a while. And then it seems like the execution was very sloppy or at least uneven. And so it doesn't have the gravitas of a Marvel movie anymore. And they've squandered a lot of goodwill in these past, 4 or 5 years. And I think that the diehards will still watch it. Like I'm still going to watch it, but am I excited to watch it? And I'm kind of in the space where Josh was when we was talking about Star Wars stuff, where it's like you're still a fan, but you're so disappointed so far that you're just kind of like, I'll watch it because it's there, but I'm not like hyped to go see it. Although
you don't have any expectations.
No expectations. And I think that's my thing where it's like, I can go watch this or I can go watch Dan to Dan or other Crunchyroll anime or K-drama stuff that has my attention way more right now.
Yeah, I think Cam has said something before that I thought really made sense, which is you can't really watch Marvel films now and just watch the one film that you're watching without the attachments to the other parts of the franchise. Even for this film, you kind of have to have some context with the Incredible Hulk from almost 20 years ago, as well as the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series from, what was that, 3 years ago, 4 years ago at this point? Maybe less, I don't know. But you have to have had all of that context in order to completely follow the narrative. And I think that that's their catch-22, as Cam pointed out. I didn't have any expectations for this either. I just, Sam has been around in the MCU for, well, really since phase 1 or phase 2, I think. Phase 2. He's been around
actually since all like late phase 1, phase 2.
Yeah, so I don't know. The effort I said it when they first announced this, that the effort would always come off as disingenuous. And once again, they include the Isaiah Bradley narrative and sort of that attachment of the racial plot point that they're so terrible at doing, which is having this conversation, trying to have a conversation about race while not having a conversation about race. It's a little frustrating because I would rather them just ignore it altogether than be disingenuous about it. But again, no expectations. So, I think for the most part, Marvel has been sticking to being right up the middle. They're in a place where they're continuing to play it safe as opposed to breaking out something fresh that we haven't really seen or experienced with them. And in that regard, they're continuing to leave the door wide open for what DC is about to roll out this year and next. And so I think, we've said it multiple times, this is just where they are right now. And even though they're scaling back the quantity, this is a somewhat bump up of quality. But in terms of excitement and energy for what's to come, it doesn't even weigh on the scale of Deadpool and Wolverine, which was, kind of a one-off in that regard. But it did excite people.
Yeah.
But this here is kind of reminding us that, Marvel is in a creative slump right now. And they need fresh minds and fresh ideas, which is why I think they should go with my suggestion, which is to completely do a soft reboot, starting with the Fantastic Four and bring in the X-Men and let it ride from there. Those two franchises are fresh, new, and you can get a lot of good mileage out of that. And people would be excited if you do it right.
Yeah, and actually, the Russo brothers just signed on to do some stuff with them and include the X-Men stuff. But before I get into all that, Josh, you actually watched it. So what's the 2 cents? What's the 2 cents?
So let's start with the good. Anthony Mackie was a solid leading man. The movie itself was good. The elements that they chose to use were good. Overall, solid movie. Good, better than average movie. Not, again, I like to use my scale. On a scale of good, very good, and excellent, it's right on the border of being very good. What could have made it very good to excellent is the thing that they left out, which is, if you're going to have a movie where the leader is one of the main antagonists, the Red Hulk ends up being an antagonist, there's a guy that you have on your team that you can call when the word Gamma comes up. They've acknowledged in the films that he is the foremost expert on Gamma. The first Avengers movie is why he got roped in the first place, because the Tesseract wound up having, or not the Tesseract, there were gamma emissions somewhere in.
No, it was the Tesseract. You're right.
It was the Tesseract. Thank you.
Tesseract.
Yeah. Tesseract was emitting, like large scale gamma emissions. So they called the foremost expert on gamma radiation, which is our man Bruce. Bruce is nowhere to be found in this thing.
Which is ultimately confusing, and it just, stupid. Once again, it doesn't make any sense. It's like having Joker without Batman, or the multiple Spider-Man stuff without Spider-Man. We've seen it doesn't fly well with the fans.
And so, in so much as I tried to, keep an open mind, see where they were going to go with it, and see what they were going to do, once I heard the word gamma, I was like, ooh, here we go. I know what this means. And, they used it again. And I was like, okay, yep, it's coming. It's coming, because they're going heavy on it. And then the leader pops up. I'm like, just as I thought, the leader's in this thing. And there's no way, I'll just sit back and wait for Bruce to show up. And so you get to the third act, and I'm like, this is where Bruce is going to show up. Third act comes and goes, no Bruce. And that's not to say that that Sam Wilson did not do a reasonably good job fighting Red Hulk with upgraded Wakandan technology for his wings. Had he not had that, that would have been a really short fight. He even makes a joke when Harrison Ford transforms into the Red Hulk. He's like, "Oh, come on! Like, I should have just took the serum." He acknowledges how ridiculous it is that him as a guy with no powers and just the vibranium reinforced wings has to now go up against a Hulk that basically has no restraint whatsoever. He doesn't have Bruce in the psyche, in the background psyche, sort of holding back the sheer carnage that's about to take place. So the footage that you see of the White House basically just being shredded, that's Red Hulk. So yeah, and again, there are elements of, and that's not to say that the movie does not work. It just subtracts significant, that what I just described subtracts significantly from it. Again, back to things that worked. Serpent Society is in this thing. It's Giancarlo Esposito. Nothing to talk about. He if anything, as good as he was underutilized. Just a hair underutilized. He worked, and for the way that they used him, he worked. He brought Giancarlo level gravitas to something that should not have worked. The Serpent Society is one of the most ridiculous things in all of Avengers and Captain America lore. And he made it work. First of all, they grounded it. They brought all of that stuff down. He's wearing the same colors that Copperhead wears, but there's no snake references. His Serpent Society is almost like they're mentioned as like a group of mercenaries and just general, guns for hire that will do whatever to get whatever. And so they're going after adamantium which plays heavily into the plot. But they're going after adamantium, and that sort of sets the whole thing. Literally, it's the first scene, and it sets the ball rolling almost immediately, and remains the center point of the film throughout. So yeah, bottom line is there's stuff that worked. There's stuff that definitely worked. Anthony Mackie as Captain America works. There's not a whole bunch of sermonizing. Isaiah Bradley, they use him very well. It's not just, him being, token black guy. There's a bit where they put him in prison and he starts flipping out. He's like, yo, I am not going back. And, they sort of lean on his previous incarceration and his PTSD of having been operated on previously as like the sort of touchstone for his like flipping out. The way that they use it, he's another central pillar, and not just as a sympathy player in the whole thing. Like, he gets to be Captain America for like 2 seconds, 2 pretty significant seconds, but for 2 seconds they show you, like, even at his advanced age, he still got super serum running through his veins, and he can do Captain America stuff. So overall, what did I give it? I gave it like a 7, like a low 7, like even. I don't want to give it a 6.5 because that makes it just a touch lower than it actually was, but like 6.75, maybe a 7. And it could have been an 8 or a 9 if you just called Bruce. If you just called Bruce and say, yo, I heard the word gamma. I don't know what it means because I'm not a scientist, but I heard it twice today from like 2 different people. I got a feeling something's up.
Yeah.
Then he meets Dr. Stearns and he's like, yo, there's this dude that you, I think, mentioned you used to work with, or I read a file that you like worked with him for like 2 seconds, and he's the one who wound up creating the abomination. Yeah, you might want to like get involved in this because I think he's got like some gamma thing going on because his brain looks all like his head looks all weird. And yeah. And at the point where Harrison Ford turns into Red Hulk, like, yo, code green. And he pops up wherever, like, Doctor Strange does his thing, and then Bruce pops up and he's like, oh crap, well, this is bad. And then they start duking it out. Like, that's come on.
Well, see, and that's why it's grading on the curve, because they could have done all of those things, and that was well within their power to do, but they chose not to, and that's the arrogance of the MCU at this point.
Yeah. That's a maybe, because I at this point it's so old I don't even remember the details, but I know that the thing with Universal, like whatever it is, like it stipulated that they can't do a Hulk movie, and I think the only thing that I can think of is maybe they didn't do it because this sort of leans a little too heavily into Hulk movie territory, considering that they're using plot points from the previous Hulk movie that weigh very heavily into the plot of this film.
Then why do it? Then what's the point of doing it?
All right, go ahead, Cam.
So I have a few questions. Here's the thing. I think there was a lot of reshoots because I don't think Giancarlo was supposed to be in that role. I think it was for a wrestler. And I don't know the reason why they recasted him, because they had a lot of film that was done with this particular character. And there was a female who ended up being a widow, but before, from what I heard, she was supposed to be an Israeli spy. So Marvel kind of dropped the ball on the real world relationship with Israel. So
no, they did it. They did do that. I forgot to mention.
No, they mentioned it, and so when there's a character who mentioned who this character was, and they go behind him, that's the reshoot part, because that camera was supposed to be facing him when he explained who that was. She wasn't initially supposed to be a widow character. She's
there's a character called Sabra that's like
Sabra,
like superhero.
No, she's not. She's not Sabra.
Officially, she's not.
She is. They don't say that she is. She
but
is.
That's the character.
Okay.
It's the only possible character she could be in all of the Marvel universe. Ex-Israeli Mossad. She was trained in the Red Room. All of that.
They say it without saying it. but the from what I gathered, the reshoots kind of just glossed over it. But here's my thing with Giancarlo: you have this exquisite actor. It's because of the reshoots and the timing, you don't get more time with this amazing actor. So I don't even have to watch this to know. I've just been hearing rumors.
Again, they maximize what little screen time he has. They squeeze all of the lemon out of all of the juice out of that.
You have an actor of that caliber, you want more meat on the bone, in my opinion. But again, this is me not seeing it. You see more than that. So I'm gonna back up and say you're right until I see it and make a judgment call. But again, when you say, look, there's a scene where I saw Sam Wilson get his wing ripped off. I was like, you have a wing ripped off. How the hell are you going to beat the Hulk? You know what I'm saying? Because his wings was basically protecting him from the punches. Now, the cool thing about no, I already know. So I've seen that.
Wait, no. What do you think happened? And then I'll tell you if you're right.
He gets stabbed. No, he gets stabbed.
That's not how he
No. Then he sees a petal fall in his hand, and then he has a reminiscence of his daughter. I know the ending. It's just so I know that part. But
basically, he just talks him down. He does. But again, he does the emotional equivalent of its son's getting real low.
So again,
which to be fair is a Hulk thing. Like if you can get him to calm down we've
seen this with Black Widow and the Hulk when she calmed him down. But this just also reminds me of the BS of like how Ant-Man beat Kang. I'm like, all right, bruh. Can we just get? Look, I miss the Hulk. Any version of the Hulk feeling like a pit bull off his leash. I need that. You don't know what the hell's gonna happen, Hulk. You can't talk me down. That's what made the Hulk Hulk. And again, I think it, I thought you were gonna say they didn't bring him Bruce Banner. They brought in Bill Bixby as like some meta reference. Wow. I was like, oh. So if you know, you know. But I thought that would have been cool. So if you're gonna bring in Bruce, who's been completely nerfed, and we already know he's not off world, where the hell is he?
Yeah,
right. Well, again, that's called continuity, and you've established 20-some years of continuity, and then you throw it to the wayside at your own convenience.
Yeah,
and that is the reason why I'm pretty sure once I see this film, my grade will probably be no higher than a 6, because
I don't see you grading it higher than a 6.
Probably not, but it's mainly because of that. When I saw that Red Hulk was going to be in this film, and knowing that they probably wouldn't have Bruce Banner Hulk in the film, I knew that it would not make sense narratively or based on anything that they've established previously.
Yeah.
Sam Wilson cannot fight the Red Hulk without dying.
No. Even with vibranium wings, you are 100% correct.
Yes. He got no serum.
That should not be a thing.
Exactly.
And if he gets punched,
Steve Rogers couldn't even fight Red Hulk without dying. Now, he could probably last a little bit longer, but we're talking about the differences of a few minutes versus whether or not he takes him to the limit. There's only one other Avenger who can go toe-to-toe with the Hulk, and that's Thor.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go. And to be fair, to be 100% fair, they do make the limitations of vibranium versus a crazed Hulk very apparent. It's not a difference maker for very long. Sam uses the wings to the fullest extent of their capabilities before it doesn't matter. And they make sure that there's like, all right, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this. And then by the time you get to that last thing, Red Hulk is like, come here.
It becomes unnecessarily convoluted, or it requires a very wide stretching of your willing suspension of disbelief.
It borders on stretch.
So here's the thing for me. Mm-hmm. This goes back to the continuity thing. If you haven't watched any of the previous films and you see the White Wolf pop up as a senator, you're like, what the hell happened in this downtime? Yeah. So you're like, huh? How did he become an assassin and all of a sudden
become a congressman?
Congressman, right? Yeah. And again, this dude has no super soldier serum, and you're like, how on earth is he going to fight? But the thing I thought was cool and this goes to CGI. I give kudos to them matching the looks of Harrison Ford and explaining why he cut the mustache to. Because we had the previous actor, I can't remember his name. William Hurt. So they threw a line in there saying, you know, I had to cut the mustache if I wanted to get elected. But then there's also the Hulk clap, which I thought that was cool. They brought back.
Yep.
Because I think the previous directors from the latest incarnation of Hulk thought it was cheesy. It's like, no, that's the Hulk, man. Like Hulk's man. Or the Hulk clap.
He uses it in the movie. He uses it at the end of the movie.
They brought it back, but it didn't appear for a lot of movies. It just
Louis Lasseter used it though. That was actually, in fact, it was a key moment because I'm pretty sure he uses that to stop the abomination from there was he was about to kill Betty and General Ross in the helicopter.
He uses it to put out the helicopter the crashed helicopter that they're in catches fire.
Yeah.
And Abomination has him pressed up, like basically, you know, jammed up against the wall, and he can't get free until he notices that the helicopter catches fire, punches him in the face, shoves him to the side, does the thunderclap to put out the fire without killing them, which is amazing.
Without even moving them, like it was focused enough.
If I remember correctly, Betty's hanging outside of the helicopter and she gets blown back into it.
I love that movie. I really do love The Incredible Hulk.
It was everything that I want as a huge day one. Like I'm talking like I was maybe 4 years old, probably shouldn't have been watching the 70s, the Bill Bixby series. And like I fell in love with The Incredible Hulk right there and then. That in the 60s animated, the terrible 60s animated joint with like all the like damn near stop action animation, if you want to even call it animation. Like I gobbled it all up. That made me fall in love with the Hulk. So
let me ask you this. You said it was used before, which I believe, but remember in the Marvel series, that Marvel MCU, we never saw that clap anymore.
He never does it.
He never does it. I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
You know?
He does it in She-Hulk, but they do it really stupid.
I don't even.
They also from that point on continue to give us a downgraded Hulk.
Yeah.
So we got, as far as I'm concerned, The Incredible Hulk, Louis Lasseter's film, which is considered part of phase 1 of the MCU, was peak of what we should get in almost every film, and even more. But because again, and then here's another problem with using Red Hulk and the leader and all of these characters in this new Captain America film is that you continue to kick the bucket of Hulk's redemption down the road, which is, again, every time you have an opportunity, because you gave his moment to Captain Marvel in Endgame.
Yes.
He was supposed to got his licks back against Thanos, but they never bring those two together. And instead that moment went to Captain Marvel, which was completely unearned. And again, we didn't see it then, but that whole film and what came after it was indicative of these problems that are now more apparent in the MCU, which is they ignore the continuity that they establish across these films and TV shows in order to tell or try to attempt to do something new or fresh. And it comes off as disingenuous or nostalgia mess. Fun, but still nostalgia nothing. It's like Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, fun, good film. But it's only fun and good if you are 35 years and older.
Look, these writers who nerf Hulk will never see heaven. That's all.
Preach.
and that's we'll leave it on that.